Masters, today I want to talk about something that not many, especially new preppers, will not find that exciting, but it's a very important part of survival, and that's sewing. Sewing has a lot of survival applications. I will call them a few in a moment, but first of all, first of all, when things are getting desperate, like now in this economy where everything is going to be very expensive, like gas prices, energy prices are very high, transport troubles, embargoes. Yeah, there are not many. Uh, a lot of items that we took for granted will now become very expensive. So you will have to in some ways you have to save money, or you have to do things yourself that you would otherwise do by somebody else. So for example, this is my working pants, and yeah, I work a lot, so there will be a lot of holes in these pants. But if I there were big holes, there were small holes, but yeah, if I would have done this just buy new pants every time it's something went broke, yeah, that's you're gonna lose a lot of money that way. So, so that's why you can save a lot of money when you can repair, or you perhaps even make your own clothing. Uh, yeah, another thing you can do with it is for survival applications. When you're in the woods hiking or something, and your backpack or something else is tearing open, or your clothing or something else, yeah, you have to have a way to repair it on the spot itself. And yeah, you can do it on other improvised way, like with zip ties or duct tape. But yeah, nothing goes can restore some fabric like just some thread and a needle. Uh, yeah, another applications about sewing is not only to save money and to make your own things, because if you make your own things, you will get more independent. You are not you're not required to ask your grandmother to knit or sew something that you have broken. And yeah, like I said, if you can do things yourself, yeah, that's much better. Uh, in another survival applications is like this is how do you say this, a basic medical kit for minor surgery. There is a certain part here, if you can see it. That is one of those one of those needles that are in shaped like this. So that makes it more easier when you have to sew a wound. These are the specialized threads, so you can sew some skin, which is very important because you cannot just sew anything with dirty thread, or just something like a fish line that is not being cleaned. Before you sew a wound from the skin, make sure that it is very sterile and of a right material that will not further infect the wound. So something like nylon, perhaps some clean fishing wire could be used for that purpose. You can actually use a lot of things, but if you can improvise it, uh, you can and you do not have the skills, then it's pointless actually. So try to learn the sewing skills, which I'm learning. I'm learning this whole time about new sewing techniques, because some sewing techniques are stronger than the other, and yeah, that's something you can use in several different circumstances or materials. It's that. If you want to, that's why I also would recommend to get some. You can ask somebody to help you and train you in several sewing techniques, or you can learn it by yourself with self-help manuals. Like this is a hand manual with all sorts of sewing techniques, which is very handy, very detailed, and it is a manual on how to make clothing, which can be very handy if you try to live off grid or try to be more independent. So yeah, and the next thing that you after you learn the techniques, it's also handy to have some stash to, how do we say this, to do more complicated stuff with sewing and repairing clothing. Like you can see here, just simple needles have in different sizes and thickness, so you can sew thicker materials or do more fine sewing and of thread. Have glosses, have thread in all colors, because yeah, not every clothing it can be very ugly. It can be turn out to be a little bit ugly if you have a black vest and you thread it with you sew it with purple or pink thread. So have several colors ready. Have it in your stockpile. What I like to prefer to use is this nylon thread. Why? First of all, instead, on contrary to the most sewing clothes, which are made of cotton, this nylon is very much stronger, more stronger than a regular thread. So that's why I prefer to use this. It's stronger. It goes longer. It goes a long time, even in dire conditions. Because yeah, it's a how do we say this? Not a natural fabric is perhaps the best wording of it. So if you're going to hike and you're in moist, damp, or cold situations, some threads can wear out quicker than others. So yeah, I prefer something like this, like a nylon thread. If you can see, I repaired this hole in my working pants with something I call a knot sewing. It's with every thread I'm going around, I put it right back in like a knot. So every different knot you see here is actually a knot in the whole sewing line. So that gives it more strength. There are several, even perhaps 100 more of sewing techniques, but yeah, this is one I prefer to use. It's very strong. Learn how to make the beginning right and to finish it off, because if the beginning or the end is bad and you pull it, it gets loose very quickly. You don't want that, so tie good knots is what I'm trying to say. All right, this has been done. Also, what you need are buttons. Buttons in several sizes. Like yesterday, I had a problem with my trench coat, which I made a video about it. So watch for that. I tried to put these two colors together, but my neck was a little bit too thick for this coat. So what I did is I removed the button a little bit further, and now it fits perfectly. It's not that perfectly aligned. I'm not the best sewer in the world, but a good button repair is also a good technique you certainly need to learn to use, and to how you can sew on a button. So yeah, what else can we do? Yeah, just knitting. You know, with I do not own a knitting because I'm not that advanced yet. So in the future I perhaps will, but not directly. I do not have time to learn how to knit. But knitting is also a good survival strategy to make woolen clothing. So yeah, that's a very good reason to learn how to make that. Yeah, it can also be a good pastime, because yeah, when the grid goes down and you do not have television or some other light or some, how do I say this, some other means of entertainment or to pass on the time, that's a way to do it on a useful way, in a sense, if that makes sense. So yeah, these are just the basics. I know it might sound obvious, but I can guarantee you, learn to sew and to repair your own clothing is a very good survival strategy, and especially important for preppers. What I also want to show is the sewing machine of my grandfather. Yeah, it's I do not talk about the electric machine. You will see in a minute, but it's very important to have a sewing machine if you want to do some bigger work, some tougher clothing materials, or it's more handy if you want to do it as a side hustle, because that's another thing about sewing. it's a skill, and skills you can use to make money or to trade. It's almost like bartering, actually. If nobody can buy new clothes and you can repair clothes, people can come to you and say, I will pay you this, or I will give you this, or I will do this in the future for you if you repair my clothing. So it's a good side hustle, and that's also a way to make money in desperate times, or to help each other and build up a community with sharing skills. So, yet again, those are all good reasons to learn how to learn how to sew. The only reason I cannot think why a prepper would say I will not learn to sew is it's what girls do, but that's just a bad mindset. At if you are in that kind of thinking, real soldiers need to repair the clothing, but on a regular basis. So that's also a good reason to learn how to sew. I will now show you my sewing machine. So that is the sewing machine of my grandfather, and yeah, like you can see, it's a kind of a big thing, but it's a sturdy thing. It's going on for, it's like how many years? Almost 40, 50 years old or something, and it still works perfectly, and it's easy to do. Just it's a regular pedal, like you can see. If you step on this, then this will the needle will start to automatically start to sew. Like you can see, it's if I can get the lamp, it's with a flying shuttle that's flying in, and that way you can just do some heavy duty sewing on a rapid scale, and without the need of spending a lot of time. Yeah, there are several ways to store clothes, and several other types of things inside of this thing. So it can do very big things, like even canvas, and big heavy duty tents are also possible to sew with this together, and it's light enough to just move around the house. So yeah, this kind of machine can save a lot of money, and like I said before, as a side hustle, you can earn some extra money with it, or do some trading inside during a shit hit the fan situation, or in other scenarios. What I also want to notice is do not throw away your old clothing, broken clothing, or teared clothing, or something that is gone a little bit dirty with some stains, but keep them. Why? So you always have some materials to patch up some how do you say this? Some clothing that has gone broken, or you can use it as a alternative for a cleaning rack for some dirty things, like if you work on a motor and you get oil and you have to clean oil from your hands. That's way you can reuse some fabric and materials to clean off those things, and that can save on money and even on other products. So keep your clothing that you do not use or is broken or you have too much of it, keep it on the sides, and you can reuse it later for perhaps making new clothing out of it. Even if you have some imagination, you're innovative or you're creative, you can do a lot of things with second-hand clothing or clothing that you do not use anymore. So reuse everything is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So this was a short video about how to some preparations, perhaps some ideas about skills for sewing techniques and such, or what you can do with it, just to brighten up your mind to why it's important for prepping and survival. Yeah, so please like, subscribe, it would help me a lot. And if you have other ideas that could be helpful with sewing or repairing clothes or making other things at your home, leave it in the comments, and yeah, so I can learn from it too. I'm still learning with these things in the more advanced ways, so I'm just want to try to get better with it, so I can also use it to for other practical uses. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.